this new thing I'm doing. It's called nutrition response testing. It's a way that you can heal your cells through nutrition. I was just told I have cataracts. I get really dizzy when I stand up. So I signed up, and within 1 week, my eyesight was back to 2020.
Hey friends, welcome to Keep It Simple Sexy. I'm Christine Bullock, founder of KO Body Care, certified fitness trainer and mom of 2 little girls who's just trying to juggle it all and feel as good as possible. I'm so grateful that you're here. Now let's get started, sexy. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Keep It Simple Sexy. I'm your host, Christine Bullock. Today's guest may be an angel on earth. At least that's what her clients say. Sam says she is a health angel and she's going to change your life. Annabelle says Vanessa is a true angel. No better words to describe her. Kelly, she says Vanessa is a true angel and a miracle worker. And Nicole says working with Vanessa has completely changed my life, and that sounds like an angel. So welcome, Angel Vanessa Fitzgerald.
I had no idea that I was just an angel. Times. I
know.
The testimonials, I don't always check it. That's hilarious. Wow.
You have so many amazing testimonials. So you'll have to check out our website, and we'll give it towards the end of this podcast. But your clients speak so highly of you, and I'm going to tell why. Here's a little bit about Vanessa's background. She's a certified health coach and nutrition response testing practitioner. She has a private practice based in Los Angeles where she helps people achieve optimal health. Vanessa specializes in healing hormonal imbalances like PCOS, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Thyroid issues, along with autoimmune issues, detox from medications, digestive issues, IBS, weight loss, anxiety, depression, and so much more. I feel like I've been in all of this. I can't wait to talk to you. She's a graduate of NYU undergrad, Bikram Yoga College of India, very cool, and Institute for Integrative Nutrition. She has studied blood education at the Biomedex Institute and homeopathic medicine through the Ulan School. She's not only healed so many, but she's also reversed her own Hashimoto. She's thriving with PCOS and detoxed off of Adderall, which quickly gave you a cult following. And I think that's so cool. Vanessa, I feel like a common thing among our guests and myself is that we have suffered from the same issues that we now love to heal or help heal in other people. And it's really become our mission. So for today's app, I'd love to focus on your wisdom and your experience with polycystic ovarian syndrome, also called PCOS. And some of the other, we can touch upon a lot of the other hormonal conditions as well. But 1 in 12 women suffer from PCOS. And it took me probably a decade and a half to be actually diagnosed with this.
Oh,
yes. And a lot of doctors, and no one ever really told me. So I'd love to start off with what started you on this health journey? Where it began, when you started to learn this stuff, what led you into your passion for healing others. I'll let you take it.
What started? I always say this because there's no better way to put it, but it's like one of those things where you are, like Whitney Houston was born with like a gift to sing, and it was a calling. I think it was a calling from probably birth. I did not grow up in a healthy household. I grew up with Twinkies and ding dongs and ho-hos and microwaved meals and eating mini Eggo waffles for breakfast. And when I hit 13 and puberty, was happening, acne was happening, as well as emotional mood swings, inability to concentrate, things like that. And I don't even know, there was an inner calling inside of me that just thought there has to be another way. And I would see things like in a magazine article, from some sort of, because at that time it wasn't really about like Googling or.
Oh, I remember that. Yes, my Glamour magazine.
Social media. And it was like there were these health journals and yoga journals and whatever. So then I became obsessed with trying to figure out how to heal myself already naturally. So I went on a journey starting, I'd probably say at 13, 14. I mean, it did a
Wow.
lot of long turns, like the fat-free diet, and then switching everything to whole wheat, and then just eating whole wheat all day, every day. And then I saw a nutritionist who really taught me a lot and really inspired me. And it was always my passion. It's just that back in the day, it was not a thing. It wasn't a career you chose. It was not trendy. It was not cool. You're made fun of, weird hippie granola, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And even Air One had one location in West Hollywood, and it's not what Air One is today. And so it just kind of went from there. And then I would always try, as an adult, try to like make money in the industry. So I became a yoga instructor. I worked for a health tech startup and was going in and out of hospitals, working with hospitals and the doctors, and just seeing a lot of what was wrong with the healthcare system and health in general and the way it's going, especially in the US. So I just, upon my journey of trying to heal myself, that's how I found nutrition response testing, because I think I've literally tried everything, and this is the only thing that's actually worked for my body. So I was working in a corporate job, and I just became obsessed with this modality, and I thought, God, this stuff is like magic. There's no other way to describe it. I need to do this for the rest of my life. And so that's what I did.
And how old were you at this point?
I was 28 or 9 when I quit my corporate job to do this. But I was going to school on weekends towards the tail end of the job, just to try and get prepared to quit.
We have such a common theme. I mean, that was really around the age that I went back into the very much like health related portion of it for me as well. So what is, at this point, I guess there's 2 questions here, because one, I want to hear more about what nutritional response testing is exactly. And I mean, like, I'm signing up. I want to come in and try it with you personally. But were you dealing with health conditions at this point too? Like, were you feeling your PCOS and your Hashimoto's throughout this time, or is this when it started?
No, I never really felt my PCOS. I think I got diagnosed. I was having more symptoms when I was like 19 when I was diagnosed, because I would have issues where I wasn't getting my period, and then I would have acne, and I would also have, if I had a bite of sugar, it was almost as if I was like a crack fiend. I just could not stop eating that sugar. My blood, and I would get shaky, and because PCOS is an insulin resistance problem. So I didn't know that until I went to an endocrinologist, and he was just like, you have cysts covering your ovaries, and this is why you're not getting your period, and why you have facial hair growth, and why your blood sugar is all over the place. So that began my journey with PCOS. And I didn't think like that was really what was bothering me. And then with PCOS, usually you have a thyroid issue. So then I was told I was on the border of Hashimoto's, changed my diet, did all of that. But when I went into nutrition response testing, I had just left like the top Harvard, Princeton, eye doctor, whatever. I don't even remember what Ivy League he went to. The best in all of New York. And who told me at 25 or 6, I had the beginning of cataracts. And I'm like, what? So I obviously was terrified, because I had like this, it felt like there was like a film on my eye, and I just wanted to rub it off. So I kind of ignored it. I sat with it, and I went into this woman who was she's like a holistic chiropractor who I started seeing when I was in college. And I went in for a session, and I noticed she had all these supplements lined up on her shelves all of a sudden. I said, what are all these supplements? She goes, oh, it's this new thing I'm doing. It's called nutrition response testing. It's a way that you can heal your cells through nutrition. I'm like, this totally resonates with me. I'm like, well, then I told her what was going on in my body. I said, I was just told I have cataracts. I get really dizzy when I stand up. I feel really lethargic. I have these dark circles under my eyes. I have tingling in my hands. And I was telling her these things. I said, do you think this will help me? And she said, I do believe that this can help you. I said, great. So I signed up, and within 1 week, my eyesight was back to 20/20. So that's
wow.
And then I just kept going from there, because with nutrition response testing, your body is like an onion, and you're peeling back the layers to get to the root cause of what is happening, and everything starts to happen in the womb. So it's a lot of layers to uncover. But then I just stopped going to, like, I'd get a bladder infection and I would use NRT and be totally fine. I would get the flu and use NRT and be totally fine. And then I just realized, like, this is my new way of living and healing.
Well, I feel like there's still so much to unfold here. We were going to focus in on PCOS, but I think the viewers and myself, what exactly do you do during NRT testing? What's like a mini sample? Because I've seen you do it, but can you explain that to the viewer?
Yeah, so it's really hard to explain. And I never go into it on my Instagram, because it just opens you up to, like, there's always a hater, always.
Yeah. Well, there's for anything that you say, so don't you worry. We love you.
So that's what I'm like, I don't need the peanut gallery chiming in. I just like to, help people heal, and I'm results driven. And when they have good results, they refer, and it just goes from there. So people can heal anything they want. But basically with nutrition response testing is that it's a form of muscle testing, or almost like applied kinesiology. But the difference between NRT and just straight muscle testing is that we are working with the body's autonomic nervous system. So we make our clients do certain hand signals, and we touch certain parts of the body that signal whether their nervous system is going to react correctly with what we're trying to do or not. So you can get a completely inaccurate read, or you can send somebody away with something that will make them feel sicker, or you can send them away with something that won't do anything at all if you're just straight muscle testing. So the reason why we run on the autonomic nervous system is that it does everything in our body. It tells us to wake up, go to sleep, digest, think, blink, walk, talk. And it's comprised of parasympathetic, rest, relaxation, digestion, and sympathetic, fight or flight, go, go, go.
Gosh, so it's everything. That's life.
Life is just twisted now, especially nowadays. And because of that, our nervous systems are just not reacting the way that they should at the times that they should. And so you're getting a lot of insomnia, anxiety, depression, inability to concentrate, digestion issues, you name it.
Yeah, so, it's literally like that light that's like flickering on and then off and then on and then off. It doesn't know what to do. It's broken. It's fixed. It's not, you know what I mean? It's like,
And when that happens, basically nutrients aren't getting transported to cells properly. So after we get the nervous system running, we run on organ points. So just as acupuncture will run on your meridian points, we're just testing organ points. So we're just applying a slight ischemic pressure, so cutting off a tiny bit of blood supply to each organ, and then testing the strength of a muscle response, which would essentially be an arm. Somebody's using an arm, we'll use a leg. And that's how we get a read of what organs are weak. And then we go from there, because normally when a new person comes in, there's multiple organs that are not functioning the way they should. And so then we find the priority organs. So I can't go after symptoms. I have to look for the underlying root cause, because the symptom, if I start to just target a symptom, I could make someone feel unwell as well. Because sometimes the body isn't ready for like a detox, for example. It's like, let's say they have a ton of heavy metals, but if I were to start pushing metals out of them, they would get really ill. So I have to strengthen their liver, their gallbladder, their kidneys, whatever it is, to help start to flush the system out, so that I can open the channel, so that I can have a much, easier, friendly detox.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, for anybody, like the comparison, it's like, how did your, mom or dad or whoever teach you to brush your hair? You don't start from the top and then tug the knot out, right? You start at the bottom, and you have to open up literally the channels of your hair. And to say this, I have actually had this, I don't even remember where and when, because I've experimented with my health and, tried all this somewhere. And it really does hit home. It's been a long time. It might've been 15 years, but even to the point of the organs with my acupuncturist, which I've been doing for years, she's had me actually test and feel each of my organs before and after. And she'll be like, okay, this is your liver. I don't even remember what it was. And I can feel just a tiny little bit of a pulse on a part side of my finger. And then after that acupuncture, the pulse is super strong on both sides, which means it's a full. So I can see where that commonality, for the viewers that have never been through anything like this before, we can understand that, from tuning into the body in different ways. I think it's so cool. I was going to come in and see you anyway before this, but I'm absolutely test my organs out. Tell me what's happening here. Mama needs an upgrade. The Keep It Simple Sexy podcast is brought to you by KO Body Care. By now, you guys know I'm all about simple wellness habits. And the most important habit, in my opinion, is eating lots of fruits and veggies to boost your immunity and feel energized and youthful. The only problem, if you're as busy as I am, you're probably eating a lot of meals on the run. So I'm going to fill you in on my favorite hack, KO Body Care's clean plant-based supplements. As the founder and CEO of KO Body Care, we spent so long getting these formulas perfect. And our customers are just as obsessed with them as I am. Our bestseller right now is our Vital Green Superfood Powder Drink Mix. Every scoop contains 25 superfoods that optimize your cellular health and performance. There's organic greens, antioxidant-rich berries, curcumin and immune complex, and so much more. Unlike most green powders, this one doesn't taste like grass, guys. It's got a sweet berry flavor that even my kids love. Seriously, my oldest asks for it every day. Vital Green Superfood Powder is a staple in my pantry and in the KO collection, and when you try it, you'll know why. Order yours today at kobodycare.com and make sure to use your special code KISS20 for 20% off your first purchase. You touched upon the symptoms of PCOS a little bit. Maybe you want to just do a review of what you find in your clients a lot, just because I feel like when I mention my PCOS on social media, so many people are like, I feel like I have that. And I'm like, well, sometimes we're tired or sometimes we have hair loss for other reasons, but there are some super common symptoms.
Did yours go away after pregnancy?
So it's better. I helped to heal it before pregnancy, which is why I got pregnant, I feel like, what helped me get pregnant naturally. But it was through diet. I never really dove into it. I just knew what made me feel better. So I think it's interesting hearing about you with the insulin and how you ate. I've read your background and your blog as well, and decreasing sugars. And I was like, wow, that's really what I did. And I didn't realize it. I just felt better that way.
Yeah. So I think the most common symptoms are weight gain, like unexpected weight gain.
That's
I
me.
actually didn't have that, but I was also 19. I didn't have that as a symptom, but a lot of people do. A lot of people have a lot of bloating in their belly. Yeah. And then they will have facial hair growth because of elevated testosterone. I think the most common symptom is just missed periods.
I had that too, but I was so tiny and I was in fitness. So it was misdiagnosed for so many years. It was like, I just thought it was the fitness.
The only reason why I got diagnosed is because I went to the hospital for gastroenteritis. I had a huge, really terrible episode, allergic reaction to some gluten situation. And they did a CT scan and my appendix didn't show up. It was too cloudy. So they sent me back for an ultrasound of my appendix. And as the woman was rolling over to hit my appendix, she was like, you have PCOS. I was like, what? So yeah, both your ovaries are covered in cysts.
Good for her.
Yeah.
I went through 5 years of fertility and we would see these cysts and not one of the doctors that I had been to said, you have PCOS. Let's try and treat this to get you pregnant as well, at least naturally, or a cyst or whatever. I mean, I saw those cysts forever. And then finally, after After that, I got pregnant naturally just because I was like healing myself, had a miscarriage, had 2 miscarriages. And it was that OBGYN that was like, yeah, you have these cysts, it's PCOS. I was like, what? And then reading all the symptoms, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is everything that I've been through and still continue to go through. So honestly, I've never really dove into it. I just kind of do what feels good. I would love to know how then you treat your PCOS, realizing that it's not one size fits all, but how you've treated your PCOS, how you help clients with PCOS, like what your top recommendations are.
So with PCOS, first and foremost, you got to stop eating sugar. You just have to. You're like pre-diabetic basically, and you're more prone to getting diabetes, and you're more prone to a thyroid issue, and one autoimmune can lead to another. So there's a
which
certain
happened
way,
with me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a certain way you should live your life. I get a lot of pushback from some people because, they don't want to feel restrictive, but also I have a replacement for there is a replacement for everything in life now. Just that sugar though, there is no negotiation with it if you've got PCOS.
So is that chocolate and fruit too? Is that like dark chocolate and fruit as well?
Yeah, fruit, I only say like blueberries in the morning and then not again the rest of the day, because fructose is still fruit sugar and it will still escalate your body doesn't know the difference. Yes, there's the glycemic index and different sugars hit your bloodstream at different speeds, but at the end of the day, your body metabolizes sugar as sugar. It's not like, oh, this is fruit sugar, I'm going to use this and then I'm going to, just poop out the cane sugar. It doesn't work like that.
Gosh darn it. It all goes to our thighs and our butt if you have PCOS, yes. And it really does.
Yes. And not only that, it messes with your insulin and then your pancreas gets overloaded and then your pancreas has problems, and your pancreas is a hormonal organ. Your thyroid will get stressed out because then your gut is inflamed. So the thing with PCOS is I'm always like grain-free as well, just because our grains in the US are so twisted at this point. And also grains can escalate blood sugar. I've had a few of my diabetic clients go into diabetic shock over brown rice. So I just cut the grains out. It's usually
so that means like bread, you're mentioning rice. Is that like a black rice or a forbidden rice too? Those kind of nutrient dense ones or all rice?
Anything that's a grain usually I'll just take out. So
okay.
I like for PCOS, I think the best diet for PCOS is a lower carb diet. So depending on how much you're exercising. So let's say you're a marathon runner or you work out a lot, sure, you can use those carbs for instant fuel because you will be working out, which will automatically lower your insulin levels back down. High intensity cardio is so important for PCOS. So if you're not though, and you're just like doing like Pilates, you do not need, this is such like a myth, you do not need that many carbs. And so like a little bit for your hormones, sure, but you don't need a ton.
You're going to get them naturally too, I feel like. Whatever your diet is, like even if you cut those things, you're going to get the carbs. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it just, whatever it is to keep insulin levels low and even is the best way, I believe for PCOS. The most success I've had with my clients and the most success I've had with myself in reversing Hashimoto's, shrinking the system. I mean, last time I went in, I had no idea, but I think it was the beginning of 2020. And she's like, you don't have PCOS. I was like, what do you mean? She goes, you have like 1 or 2 things. Like what?
That's so awesome.
Show me that screen. I don't believe you.
Oh, I want to cry. I mean, to all those people out there for anything. I mean, I think that's such an amazing thing to hear that you truly can reverse it so much that Western medicine says you don't have it. And it's funny too, because touching upon what you're saying with the diets, it's pretty much like a higher protein diet, is that I ended up going, because of my digestive issues and the things, I had acne when I was young, horrible acne, was put on Accutane when I was in college. And I can see where that was the start of the PCOS when it really turned on. And I ended up going like vegetarian, then vegan for a while. And like, I felt better for a bit, and then I just started to rapidly feel so much worse. And it just led me back to a higher protein diet, especially when I got pregnant, actually. But people ask me all the time, like, is it vegan? Are you plant-based? It's like, yes, I'm plant-based, but I feel like I have to eat a lot of animal and fish protein for myself, or my moods get crazy. I gain weight right away, and I eat it with healthy veggies. But is that what you end up recommending? I mean, or is it just, what if somebody is vegan? Is this harder if they have PCOS because they're like living off of like lettuce and tomatoes and stuff, you know?
Yeah, it's hard.
Okay. See, it is hard. I thought, am I crazy? Like, how do you do that?
I don't have one vegan client left because I get them to eat eggs. So
yeah,
they always, even my supplements have animal organ meats in them. So vegans don't always stay vegan with me. It's just really hard. It's so hard to heal as a vegan. And that's like a whole nother very controversial conversation.
Yeah.
It is very, very challenging to get the right nutrients in. It is very challenging.
I agree. I mean, and it's nice to have balance. It's not like we're eating yucky red, McDonald's burgers all the time without the bun even, but it's like living to a balance. Yeah.
You just need, like, even if you're vegan, like, I mean, just a little bit here and there. Like, I'm not saying to eat it every day if you don't want to, but my God, like, there's so many nutrients you're missing out on. And sorry, but like a fake engineered food, your body just doesn't recognize that as food.
Especially those replacements for vegans. But yes, we'll have you again. We have another topic for us to discuss at some point. But I think, it's just a good point I want to touch upon for anybody that does have these hormonal conditions already and they're going and they're vegan, that it's an option to look into. So once people start cutting these things out of their diets and really treating the PCOS naturally, how long does it take people to feel better, have more energy, have less digestive issues, stop gaining the weight or, holding on to the weight so much? If they really follow through?
If they really follow through and they change their complete lifestyle, diet and exercise, I mean, they'll feel better within a month of a straight diet and exercise. And look, I mean, I also think a couple of colonics could help because you have all this old stuff stuck in there weighing you down. Let's just say you had a really bad diet. Well, how do you get that out? Because normally when you have a really bad diet, you're probably not having great bowel movements either. So it's like getting everything flowing and moving throughout the system, getting the old stuff out, putting good stuff in, and exercising. And you'll instantly feel better regardless of medication or, supplementation right away. And that's like the easiest beginner's guide to PCOS.
I love it. And now I have to cut my smoothies out in the morning and go to eggs. So
I do fruit-free smoothies all the time. I just use ice. And also so that, look, smoothies are not great in like Chinese medicine, for example, for digestion. It stresses out the liver, it's too cold.
The temperature.
Yeah, but if you throw in like Ceylon cinnamon, not cinnamon, but Ceylon cinnamon, and like some ginger, you can get your digestive fire up within that cold smoothie. So I just throw in ginger and cinnamon, Ceylon cinnamon, into my smoothie, and then at least I'm getting some heat to help digest the smoothie. Because, like, let's be real, I love a good smoothie, especially on a hot day. So
okay, I love it. All right, we can, balance it out. All right, so kind of wrapping it up here, we like to keep it really focused and quick for all our viewers that are on the run. So one of the things that you've been very open about, and we're slightly switching topics, but it's your freedom from Adderall and, naturally getting yourself off of that, which I mentioned, I think got you a cult following. And I remember even when I met you, I had an assistant who I think looked up to you so much because she was personally going through that. And do you feel like when going on the Adderall was a symptom that was masked by doctors to some of the other things you were going through because of these underlying conditions, like, your focus, that kind of stuff that they then mask with the medication that then you had to get off of that as well?
Yeah, for me, it was more so I was just really disinterested in school.
Oh. Me too.
I'm a daydreamer, and it's not like I was hyperactive. I just would not concentrate. I just would not listen. Like, I was really good at pretending like I was listening, but my brain wasn't there. And then I would get really sleepy throughout the day because I was bored. And when my diet was bad, I was sleeping because of my diet. But when I cleaned it up and I was like really strict, I was eating like steamed fish and vegetables for lunch in high school and getting made fun of because I'd open my lunch and it smelled like a giant fart.
Yep, that's what in college. That's what mine. It was like eggs, broccoli, and tuna. I'm like, I'm so sorry for everybody that worked with me at Sephora. I'm sorry.
So bad, but whatever. I was changing my life and it was great, but I was just so like bored. I hated school, and that's just not how I learn best. And I'm not good at standardized tests. It takes me longer. So by the time they call the time, I'm like, a quarter way through. So they're like, she's slow, like she's dumb, whatever. So we're going to like give her some speed to speed her up essentially, which worked. But at the end, and then I got hooked because it's a drug. It's like doing a bump of cocaine all day, every day. And it makes you all of a sudden completely interested in very disinteresting things. Like I don't like this stuff. I hate math, but all of a sudden math is like, wow. My thing is more so that we don't celebrate people's learning differences and creative differences, and we're trying to shove everyone into a box. And I think that's when these medications start to be, they're handed out. So even like kids that are hyperactive, like, cool, maybe they're like the next biggest drummer, maybe they're, the next greatest painter. But if you're going to give them a drug to numb them out, essentially, they're never going to.
You'll never know.
Yeah, you'll never know. So my thing is like challenging like school systems to figure out how to be more accepting and all encompassing and, really nurturing the differences in learning habits.
I love that. And I understand that because my child has a lot of energy and is really smart at the same time, my oldest. So I will let you know how that goes because I won't be medicating her, but she needs a really good diet all the time. And, we just need to see what works for her. So I completely get that.
Yeah. Sugar for kids, we already know this. Kids like lose their mind when they eat sugar, but like especially with kids that tend to have an attention issue, they're eating a bunch of sugar and gluten and things like that and inflammatory foods. Forget it. Forget trying to get them to sit down and focus. It's never going to happen.
It's funny. Dairy for her, it sets her off. We definitely have like a meltdown, maybe 5-10 minutes after eating dairy. Wow. I keep trying, but it's like, all right, we tried the cheese sticks. They don't work. Like I was trying to help her be like a kid and not have the vegan cheeses and stuff, but we'll see as she grows too. All right. So top 3 tips. We're going to do like a little speed round. And just right before that, what are your top 3 tips for women with PCOS? What can they do with their lifestyle today? How can they apply their lifestyle today?
Start doing high intensity cardio. I know there's a lot of myths out there about whether you should be doing high intensity cardio or not, but it really helps with insulin levels. So high intensity cardio, cut sugar. And I would also say, do a lower carbohydrate diet.
I'm going to have to agree with you. Just water. Yeah. I'm going to have to agree because I feel like all of those things, when I really stick to it, it's amazing how quickly I can get in shape. And it's amazing how quickly I get out of shape when I just let a little bit fly.
Me too. Like, I don't, it's not like I woke up like this. Like I do very intense very intense exercise. And I
Mm-hmm.
also eat a very low carb diet. But when I eat carbohydrates, I literally swell. I become swollen. My body just doesn't respond well to it.
Mm-hmm. I guess that was actually a quick question I had too. It's what happens if you slip up? Like, do you slip up? What happens when you slip up? How long do you slip up? You know?
Yeah, I just try to, rather than like last night I went to dinner and we had, this like great like smoked trout dip and they gave us potato chips for it. And I'm not gonna eat those potato chips. I ate the potato chips, but that's like where I will have,
You'll be clean again now. Yeah.
I never, like today I'm not gonna like go and eat more potato chips. So the thing is just not to have it like set you off into a spiral. And it starts with getting your blood sugar even by cutting things out for a period of time. And then you'll be able to have those things without it making you like crave it so bad.
Mm-hmm. All right. Awesome. I can do this. We can do this, team. Team, keep it simple, sexy. We can do this. All right. Here's our speed round. So do you eat breakfast or do you fast? Do you do intermittent fasting?
I intermittent fast for years and then I lost my period for 9 months. So now I am a breakfast eater. I try not to go more than 14 hours without eating.
Interesting. Very interesting. What's your guilty pleasure? Yay!
Guilty. I have so many guilty pleasures.
Desert island guilty pleasure.
Honestly, I love a good drink. Like I love a good tequila. I love a good glass of like orange wine. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that's necessarily guilty, but like,
oh yeah, it is. I mean, that's our treats.
Yes. I do love a good drink.
And that's interesting too, because tequila I feel like is the only alcohol that I can have. And I wonder if it's like a lower sugar or lower carb. I don't know.
When I have one glass of wine, I get a little like, and then my cravings kick in and I start to get a little, I feel worse the next day. I still love wine, but like tequila, I feel totally fine.
Me too. See, I knew it was something like that. I can't drink vodka, anything. Yeah. Okay. So then last speed round question. What's one thing you are currently working on to improve your own life? Anything. I mean, you did just go on these amazing hikes.
Yes.
You have to check out her feed.
That was very life-changing. Right now, I just went through a breakup. So I've been doing a lot of like, self-love, inner work. But aside from that, I'm feeling the pressure of the world regarding fertility. So one thing I'm working on is becoming empowered around the idea of possibly, freezing my eggs or also opening up the conversation, because for some reason it's out of all of the things verbal diarrhea about fertility seems to be like the one thing where I'm like, oh, I don't want to talk about this. But I haven't even gone to the doctor to see where I lie on the spectrum, but that's how much of a thing it is for me. So I'm trying to like stop making it this thing and this pressure and just sort of and understand why I feel that.
It's amazing. We were just talking about with our producer, and I will briefly really say this. So I obviously had like years of fertility issues. And we adopted, 5 years into never getting pregnant, finally got pregnant, had 3 miscarriages. I had a whole other thing working against me. Recently had my daughter, and now my periods are regular, like you said, and they were before. But I'm going to be 40 in a few months. And I'm like, do we want another kid? Because I feel like this is the time. And I felt a lot of pressure. And it was when I just suddenly felt, I spoke with somebody, like psychic medium, whatever. It was the first time I'd ever done that. But, take it or leave it. This is what I was saying to our producer, Rachel, is that she told me, you're really fertile. And so don't worry about it. You're going to have another baby, but you just need to like try a little bit. If you want it, it's there. And I was like, So whether you believe in that stuff or not, I felt like it was that release of it. And it's exactly like, and I knew that. I knew I needed to release it and just believe in it. But for whatever reason, that's what did it for me, where I'm like, okay, great. I'm going to wait till I turn 40 and then we'll try and we'll see. But it wasn't so scary. Like, do I have to do this now? Do I have to try? Am I infertile? Am I this? Am I that? Right? You know, it was like the release of it. So I hope that for you as well. And I'm sure you'll get there, because I know that you're a woman on the search for wisdom and healing consistently. And we all, once we do one thing, we got another thing to work upon.
Always something. It's never ending.
That's great. It's called evolution, and it's beautiful. Well, Vanessa, you are just as beautiful inside as you are outside. Thank you for being with us today, and thank you for your wisdom. You can find more on her Instagram at V's Honey, and on her website, vshoney.com. I'm going to come and see you personally, and I cannot wait to see what's going on with my organs. Thank you guys for joining us today on Keep It Simple Sexy. I hope those of you suffering from PCOS symptoms, like myself, can make one simple change today to your daily rituals to help improve your health. You can visit the notes of today's podcast for bulleted highlights of actionable steps you can apply to your daily health routines today. Thanks for listening. Make sure you're subscribed, and feel free to share this with a friend or a family who needs to hear it. Have questions you need answered? Text me at 1-310-361-8697. Make sure you're following me on social at Christine Bullock, and have a healthy, happy week. See you next time.